You got an invitation to an admission interview at Cambridge or at some other top university that's equally hard to get into, and you're very happy, and so you should be, because you're already well ahead of most other applicants. But you are also super scared because you're afraid you're going to screw up and your school hasn't given you any training for these interviews, and you're worried that your competitors prepare like crazy and you have no idea what to expect, and you're shy and uncomfortable talking to strangers under pressure, and you could really do with some trustworthy advice. Welcome to Frank Staiano Explains. As a full professor at Cambridge and a fellow of Trinity College, I interview quite a few undergraduate computer science applicants every year in this room. As opposed to most other videos you'll find on YouTube on this topic, where someone who got admitted gives you advice based on what worked for them at the one single interview they took part in, I can give you the inside perspective from the viewpoint of the admission officer who has been through hundreds of interviews, both the ones that went well and the ones that didn't, so you've come to the right place. I recently did another video in response to a girl who wanted to pay me what she thought was a lot of money to coach her privately for her admission interview, which I felt was inappropriate. Well, a few days later I got this other email from another person. I recently received an invite for 2 25-minute interviews and wondered if you would be willing to create a video for your channel about how best to prepare for a computer science interview at Cambridge for myself and others who are offered minimal support from their school and are unsure what to make of the contradictory advice given online. Fine, so let me give you some useful advice on how best to prepare for interview. I won't charge you the £300 per hour that the first girl was offering. There's no other charge to you than clicking the like button if you feel it's worth it. The first thing I'll say is, congratulations. Since you got that invitation letter, there is concrete proof that the admissions tutor of your college thought you had better potential than all the other applicants they chose to deselect. Never forget that. All applicants start doubting themselves at some point in the process and suffer from imposter syndrome to a greater or lesser extent. But calm down. A few very knowledgeable people went through the paperwork you submitted and established that you have potential. When that nagging little voice of insecurity in your head tells you you're not good enough, shut it up by reminding yourself of that. You do have potential. You are good enough, at least good enough to be called for interview, which already puts you well ahead of most other applicants. Believe in yourself. If even you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? If you didn't believe in yourself, then even if you got admitted, you'd have a miserable life here because it is a very competitive place. So my first tip is, punch imposter syndrome in the face. You are worth it, and you want to be in the right mood in order to give your best at interview. My next tip is look after yourself. Take care of your physical fitness, your sleep, your nutrition, your hydration, your health in general. Go to interview well rested, in good shape, and full of energy. Do not spend the weeks leading up to interview doing all-nighters on hard mathematical problems or scrolling social media and YouTube obsessively for elusive tips on what the questions will be. Not only that's a waste of time, it will also reduce your performance on the day. Cramming is unhelpful. Understand this coming from an interviewer. The interview is not about what you know, but about how you think. What will largely determine whether you get an offer is not what you can cram in those last few weeks between the invitation letter and the interview, but rather the ability to make new connections and in general the thinking skills that you internalized over the past 10 years. It's too late to do anything different. You've already done all the work. Next, let's debunk some irrelevant advice I've seen given on other videos. Unlike what happens in some college interviews in the US, for example, an interview for computer science at Cambridge is not the place where you'll be asked about your interests, your hobbies, your leadership skills, your aspirations, your personal statement, and all that other fluff. It's pretty technical, hard-nosed discussion to select the most intellectually brilliant among the many candidates who applied. The exact format of the interview may vary between colleges, but in the interviews that we do here at Trinity, we just give you some hard problems. And we watch you, we witness how you solve them. Nothing more, nothing less. So my next practical tip is how to behave during the interview itself. And let me go into some detail on this one. What I want you to do, in your own interest, is think out loud. Some candidates are so paralyzed by the fear of saying something wrong that when they're asked to solve a problem, they try to work out the whole correct answer in their head before they even open their mouth. This would make them stay silent for several minutes while the cogs in the brain are spinning. That's not the way to make your interview go well. When I'm interviewing you, I don't care so much about hearing the right answer. I care about how you reason about a new problem. So speak your thoughts, make diagrams on the paper in front of you, make me come inside your brain, invite me in the passenger seat and show me how you drive around this new scenery, how you negotiate the sharp bends and so on. When I ask you to solve a problem, first of all, restate the problem in your own words, noting down the key inputs on the paper in front of you and confirm that you've got the right understanding of what you're being asked to do. Then think about various possible approaches, telling them out loud to me as they come to you, and discuss the relative advantages and disadvantages of the various approaches you thought, and justify why you're going to choose this one over all the others. Discuss if you think that that's the best possible approach or is just the best of the few that you've come up with so far, and why you think so. Once you have committed to an approach, then apply your approach and talk me through the various steps you're taking. Use as much paper as you needed. We can then refer back to the notes you were making. And sometimes you might make a mistake in the derivation, and I might not tell you and wait for you to figure it out on your own. Don't worry. Plenty of candidates make mistakes along the way, and they still get admitted. What matters to me is how you deal with your mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I make plenty of mistakes. How you discover that you made mistakes, and how you go about fixing them. When you get to a result, talk me through whether you think it sounds plausible. I'm really interested in hearing about the sanity checks you run in your head when you get to a solution. If a numeric answer comes out as 35, is that realistic? Yeah, I expected something between 20 and 100. Or perhaps, no, I thought it would be single digits, so 35 is way too much. Let's figure out why I got 35. Is it a mistake in my derivation, or is it a mistake in my expectation? Was I wrong to expect single digits? And if you really believe that the number is off, then show me how you retrace your steps to find where exactly you made a mistake. Oh yeah, it's here where I forgot the minus sign. And so on. So keep thinking out loud. Show me that you can reason, that you can come up with strategies, that you can compare and evaluate various approaches, that you can sanity check your results, that you can debug your thought processes. When you get to some solution and you get a little dopamine hit, oh yes, I've made it, it's not over. If we have time, I might make the problem slightly harder and ask you to take me through this new variant. And ultimately, I will almost always end up asking you questions that you can't answer, tailoring them to you and to what you showed me you could do. Don't be scared by this. The fact that you don't know how to do it does not in any way indicate that you're a failure or that the interview is going badly. I do it not to make you uncomfortable, but to see how you reason about a problem you don't already know how to solve. If you get stuck, I'll help you and I'll give you some hints. Can you make good use of those hints? That's important to me. Can they help you see something that you were not able to see on your own? That kind of simulates what we do in a supervision at Cambridge. So let me hear your thoughts. Let me see you drive around the problem and reach the solution through a different route than the familiar one you had originally planned, because there are unexpected obstacles in the way. That, not merely producing the right answer, is what tells me whether you are suitable for becoming my student here at Cambridge. So that's how I recommend you approach the interview. If this was helpful to you, please click the thumbs up. That's a lot cheaper than paying a private mentor £300 an hour. Say armchair in a comment, because I always like hearing from those of you who listen till the end. Remember that my aim as an interviewer is not to catch out the candidates who do something wrong, and neither it is to pick the ones who already know all the right answers. Instead, my aim is to identify those with the most brilliant, most versatile, and most creative brains, those who can learn and apply new things on the spot, and ultimately those who have the intellectual potential to thrive in a cohort of other top-class performers. Believe in yourself. Attend the interview well rested and in top physical and emotional form. Don't bother cramming in those last few weeks. Think out loud during the interview and share your thought processes during the interview. Expect to be asked questions you won't know the answer to, and don't take this as an indication that it's not going well. Make good use of the hints that may be offered to you. And believe me, if you have what it takes, I am genuinely keen to have you as my student. And I'm sure other interviewers at other colleges and other top universities share this exact same feeling. Check out this other video with further helpful hints and best wishes for your interview. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video. And perhaps live here.